Hello, everyone. Welcome to our 5th episode of the Next Move podcast. Today, a really fun interview. I got Jose Roan here, and he's a UPS driver. Jose, thanks for coming on, man.
Hey, no problem.
So we're going to talk about what it's like to be a driver, kind of how you started and where you are now, and just everything about the job. So let's kind of start from the beginning. How long have you worked at UPS?
21 years.
21 years. Very nice. And how'd you get into working for UPS?
In 1998, I was in high school. Just, not the best at school, struggling a little bit, finishing up my last senior year. Ended up in continuation school. I was finishing up right there. And I'm in the office looking at the job listings. And I'm just kind of looking around. And one of my teachers was there and say, "Hey, you should apply for UPS. If you write a resume, I'll give you credit for it." And I was like, "Oh, for sure. Okay, awesome." So I went, did my resume. She helped me out. She gave me the credits. That was cool. And a couple weeks down the line, I get a phone call and they say, "This is United Parcel Service." I'm like, "Who?" Then they're UPS, and I'm like, "Oh."
You didn't even know that's what it stood for?
That's what, yeah. So I was like, and they asked me, "We got your resume, and would you be interested?" I was, of course, yes. And they called me for the interview, and it just went from there.
Very nice. And what was the position that you were applying for initially?
So it was a part-time job.
Okay.
Everybody starts off part-time. 4 hours a week. It was the shift that I got was the preload shift.
Okay.
I started at 4 a.m. off 8 a.m. So it was loading trucks. Actually, I was started at the back wall, is what they called it, unloading the big trailers, the big 42 footers.
Yeah.
And you just got to get in there and unload them. So it's hard at first. So it took me time to get used to it, of course, and just kind of moved on from there.
Is it that particular position 24-hour shifts that they have? Like, as far as like you could have any type of shift within that 24-hour span, or is it?
It's a 24/7 process.
Yeah.
The shift that I had was 4 a.m. You unload trailers, and then they get sorted out into the trucks from there.
Okay.
So I did that job for about a little bit under a year, and I moved up to preload, which is the people that load up these package cars, and you get $1 raise. And I was excited. You kind of had to pass a little test.
Mm-hmm.
And they took me into the break room, and they were like, "All right, you want to go preload? It pays $1 more. Your job is to make the driver's day. You load their trucks. It's your job to make sure the driver has a good day, because that load's got to be perfect." So I did that for 5 years.
So the first one was the big trucks that you were unloading the big trucks.
The big rigs.
Okay.
Yes.
And then the second one, when you moved up, is the actual, like, those brown ones, the brown trucks that you see going around, like the residential, the businesses over here.
The package cars.
Okay. Nowadays, is that process still the same? Do you usually start off as a loader?
Yep. But
With
there's
no
different
experience?
shifts. There's Twilight. They kind of load up those big trailers, because the package cars pick up the volume throughout the day. It gets unloaded, and then it gets sorted into the trailers, and and those trucks go to wherever it needs to go.
Do you remember what you were getting paid back then?
Yes.
Like minimum wage?
Started off at $8.50.
$8.50?
And that was good money back in 98.
Okay. I remember my first job, I think it was like $5.75.
Yeah, so it was decent.
$8.50. Was it, and it was, are there any loaders that are full-time?
Yes, you can become a full-time loader.
Okay. But at the particular time when you first went in, it was part-time. And how many hours a week were you generally working?
I was doing about 4 hours a day. During the busy season, you probably get 6, 7, a little more, depending on how much if you have more skills on doing different things like sorting or e-regs, or there's different things that you can be at. If you know, the more you know, the more hours you'll get.
Okay. And was your objective from day one, once you got into UPS, to eventually get to a driver? Is that what they're generally looking to do?
Usually, yes,
Okay.
because everybody, it's all by seniority.
Mm-hmm.
So you go in there and you just put your name on the list to be a driver, or you put your name on the list to be. Back then we had Saturday air,
Okay.
so you could do Saturday driving. It's kind of like a little practice to be a driver.
Mm-hmm.
You deliver on Saturdays.
So that's interesting because you had to put your name on a list, and it's like a waiting list basically,
Yes, it's all
And-
seniority.
and it's on seniority. So what if you're like the best loader ever? It's still off of seniority.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. Nowadays, same process.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you want to be a driver and you're a loader right now, you put your name down on a thing, and basically those jobs come, I guess, when other drivers cycle out, and then there's an opening, then someone goes
once, people retire,
in. Mhm.
people move up into feeder driving. That's driving the big rigs.
Okay.
So the spots open up. But nowadays, it's actually quicker. People are going driving quicker. Some of my coworkers that are younger, it took them 2 years to go
Okay.
driving. It took me 5 years.
5 years. Okay.
This was, back. It was moving a little slower, but
So you put your time in.
oh yeah.
And I know we'll talk about this later down in this interview, but I know now you're union. Were those positions considered union at the time, or was they at will
And
position?
they're all union.
Even the part timers?
Yes.
Okay.
That's all
Okay.
union. Package handlers, drivers, clerks, anything other than management.
Okay. So it took you about 5 years. So you go through, it's basically two roles. You have the loader, and then it was, what is it?
Preload,
Preload.
loading the package cars.
Okay. And how long were you in each one of those? So 5 years total, but how long did it take you to get from step one to step two?
It
For
took
you.
it took under a year. I don't know exactly. I want to say like at least 6 months
Okay. And then you were in preloader then for about 4 years then.
until I went driving.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to start getting into driving. Driving, you have to have a certain driving license, right? It's not the typical regular driver's license.
It's your regular
Oh, really?
driver license that you have.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I would have thought it was like a specialized.
It's a package car. It's not considered like the bigger rigs.
Okay.
That's a different type of class of drivers.
So how do you go about? Because if I were to get into one of those right now, I would not feel comfortable driving it. So how do you ease your way into that? Do they just like one day, okay, you get into loader or you get into drivers or being a driver and you just take off or?
Some people do it that way. But I did Saturday driving, so that helped me to kind of prepare to driving the package cars. I did Saturday driving, so it was like light loads. You do few stops,
Okay.
and it kind of gets you used to the package car.
Did you have anyone with you at that time or no?
The first couple days, yes, they train you. You go with somebody,
Okay.
and they do training prior. There's a whole week of training that you got to go. It's in LA. It was back in LA back then. And then you take a class 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. It's written and then driving. So you got to learn a lot.
You got to take a driver test for UPS. So it's not the DMV, it's the driving test for UPS.
UPS style driving test.
Very nice.
There's a lot that they put into it. It's called the DOKs. You got to know your DOKs.
Okay.
The depth of knowledge. There's the 5 scene habits. There's the 10-point commentary,
And this is all driving?
and this is what you need to know word for word. They're all skills. I'll just roughly go over it. The DOKs is it's the 5 scene habits. So the first one, aim high in steering, and you got to explain what is aim high in steering. How do you do that, and what does it do for you? So that gives you an idea of how to aim high in steering, which meaning look up ahead, and what does it do? It centers the car in your traffic lane. So moving on to the next one, get the big picture. I'll just kind of go over a little bit. Leave yourself an out. make sure they see you.
These are things that you could actually do in real life too.
Oh yeah. When my kids go driving, I'm gonna make sure they know this. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's so.
Okay, so you do a week class, and it's a written test plus a written. I guess it's a written exam plus a driving exam.
Yep.
And that allows you to become a driver. So do you do this prior to even getting the job? Like, maybe there's not a position open at this time. Can you take that stuff prior so that when there is, you're ready to jump right in, or do you have to get the job and then you get to go into that class?
Oh no.
No, you have to get the promotion first.
I mean, you can come up to someone and say, "Hey, give me the knowledge so I can learn it now." If somebody wants to take that higher step and start learning these methods, these DOKs,
Yeah.
power to them.
Okay, so now we're going to talk more about what you specifically do now. So what's a normal day as a driver look like? I don't want a busy day, like one of the busiest days, but let's just say a normal, like today. You went into work today or yesterday.
Yeah.
What does it look like?
For me, because the type of route I have, I do a mall.
Okay.
The Del Amo Mall. It's one of the biggest malls in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And when I walk up to my truck, all I see is a package car full of packages, like to the front, from the front to the back.
Okay.
And that's what a mall route looks like. People look at it and they're like, I don't want to do that route. But
what time do you come in?
What time do I start in the morning? My route starts at 9:00. I'm part of the safety committee. So I come in a little earlier, and what a safety committee member does is prepare everybody for the day, do different activities on safety. It could be multiple things. We have a lot of stuff going on for safety.
Okay, I want to talk about that in a little bit. So let's start from the morning though. You get in 9:00. Your truck's loaded for you. You head off. Like, what's the day look like from there?
We have, what the scanners look like. They're diet boards.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, we punch in. We do everything with that.
Okay.
We punch in with that. Our miles. It's our, we clock in.
Miles. You guys have to track miles?
Yeah, you gotta put in your miles from your package car. Start. You download we call it ED. And it's all the addresses that we have, all our stops.
Okay.
So this tells us everything we have in our truck.
Okay.
So people like to look at what you have. We have commit time packages. We got to look through those. Make sure you have them. Actually, physically have them, because those have to be delivered first. We have to service those packages, and then just ready to hit the road.
The commit ones are specifically timed ones that have to be at a certain place at a certain time.
Next day airs, those are due by 10:30.
Okay. Are those residential at all, or are those all mall ones that you have?
It could be anything.
Okay. So you got to get those out of the way.
Those got to be delivered first. So in the morning we come in, we pre-trip our vehicle, make sure our lights are working, check the tires. We kind of walk around, making sure we have 360 degrees visibility. We check our next day airs. We put in our miles, and pretty much ready to hit the road.
Okay. Do you have any says I'm going to kind of go back to, my job wasn't the same, but I was a merchandiser, and I'd have all these stops that I have to hit in a day. And there were certain stores that I needed to hit at certain times, but for the most part, I had the flexibility to be like, okay, I'm going to hit the store first. I'm going to hit this store second, because I was trying to figure out how best I could go about killing this route. Yeah. Do you have any say in that, or is it I got to do my commitments and then they kind of lay out what stores you got to go to next from there?
So my route is kind of a different type of route. Normally, the diet board, it's Orion. It's lined up for you. You got to follow Orion. Okay. Orion sets your route up. It tells you stop for stop where to go, and it sets it up to minimize miles. So it finds the best route for the route, depending on what stops you have. So it'll so you gotta. It's okay if you kind of go off a little bit, but you kind of have to follow it a percentage,
Okay.
But my route is a little different. It's a mall route, so it doesn't really work for me because
You have that one stop plus.
it's bulked out. I can't get to that first stop it wants me to get to because it's a mall route. It's packed. I can't get to that first one. One of my biggest stores. I have a Sears, J.C. Penney's, Macy's, and one day maybe Dave and Buster's might have these huge boxes, and it's going to be in a certain spot. Like I have to get these boxes out of the way to get to the rest.
Mm-hmm.
So my route's a little different.
Okay. Is all of the packages that you have to deliver for the day loaded, already preloaded in there, or do you ever have to go back, get your truck loaded again because there were more packages that need to go out and they just couldn't fit?
That's kind of rare. No,
That's rare. That's going to be more in a busy season or something like that.
There might be some left in buildings, but the supervisors will take care of that.
Okay. So what happens basically, so your job is once you have all these packages you have to deliver. Once you're done for the day, right? Do you ever finish early? No?
Because we also have pickups.
Okay.
I mean, you can.
So
finish.
what's pickup look like?
Pickups are scheduled pickups that we have customers that we pick up. We have customers have accounts where they want a daily pickup at between a certain time, and if your pickup is at 5:30, you have to pick them up between that window.
Okay.
So, sometimes you might have a, 5:30 pickup, and you might be done with your deliveries, but you still got to make that 5:30 pickup.
See, I remember when I was doing merchandising, one of the things that was hard was my job was done when I was done with all my stores. So at some jobs that I had, it was like I punched in at a certain time, and then I knew at this time I was done. And you come into work some days and you have a lot of energy, and there's some days where I'm like, oh man, I'm dragging. I just need to hit that time. But when I was merchandising, I didn't have that luxury. It was like if I felt lazy that day, it didn't matter. I still had to hit every single store. It was just, it would take me longer sometimes to do that.
Yeah.
Do you have to make sure every package is done before you can go back, correct?
Oh yeah, we scan every package in our package car, every package every day. Yeah.
What about, and we also used to help other people as well. So sometimes I'd finish up a little early. And if I finished up early, then maybe the person the next city over wasn't done yet, and I'd meet up with that person, kind of help them get their job done. Does that kind of work the same way with you guys? Sometimes?
Occasionally, but we have people kind of, evening out the work. If they see like, oh, this guy has a lot of stops, they'll kind of move it around. So your section might change a little bit because this guy's heavier, so you may get a little more. It gets balanced out.
Okay. So that's a typical day. Let's go into what a busy day is like, because I've known you have busy days. I would assume Christmas time is probably the busiest of all.
Triples.
What happens during that time? So what's the difference with your load? How does UPS help you make sure all those packages are getting out during Christmas time?
The good thing about Christmas is we hire a lot of help. We get a lot of, now we have, we hire helpers, people that ride with us, helping us deliver.
Are those aren't drivers though? Are those people that are helping you?
They just come with us and help us deliver everything.
Are they
driver helpers?
So are they hired temporarily?
Seasonals.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they're not part of UPS long term generally.
It's a seasonal job.
Okay. And then what's the hours look like then during those busy times?
For regular drivers, you know what? It could be a little different every year because times change a lot, and the last couple of years it's just been different every year. But just based on last peak, it was great. People were working not too long, average 10 hours, which is good.
You get some overtime then, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Normally, do you normally work 8 hours a day?
The average is 10 hours.
Oh, average is 10 hours,
Yeah.
and you work 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, so you're getting overtime pretty much all the time.
For package drivers, yes.
Okay. Let's talk about the relationships that you build there too, because I'm usually not home during the hours that which our packages are delivered. But I do know there's people that are home all the time that you're dealing with on a daily basis. I know we talked about in the past where you get maybe like cookies or something as a thank you. So talk about the relationships that you build with not only like the residential people that you see every day, but also the people like the businesses.
Okay, so when you start off as a driver, you be your first utility driver, so you got to cover routes. You bounce around on different routes. When that driver's off, you got to cover that route. So when you have enough seniority and a route goes up for bid, you could bid on that route, and it's your route once you get it.
Okay, before you move on the bid, how does bidding work? Is it like actual paying or what? How's that work?
Oh no, whoever has the highest seniority.
Oh, okay.
So let's say a driver retires and his route is up for bid, and hey, I want that route, and only full-time drivers can bid for that route because we have different types of drivers. There's hybrid 224 drivers. There's covered drivers. Once you're a full-time driver, you're full-time, and you can bid on routes.
Okay.
It's different pay. It's the same job, but it's different pay when you're a full-time driver. Everybody wants to be a full-time driver, and it's all by seniority. You do your time, and then you become a full-time driver. Once you become a full-time driver, you could bid on a route. You could bid on routes weekly. If that driver's going to be on vacation, you can bid on that route. I want to do that route for the week. And then the highest seniority guy gets it. If you want a route that of your own, for it to be your route, like how I have my route, then when it goes up, you bid on it, you get it, it's your route.
Okay, I want to go back to the relationship thing in a second, but the route thing's kind of interesting. What's the furthest route from the garage that you guys have? Like, how is there like a route that's really far?
We're based out of Gardena. And the farthest route would be PV, way out there.
So was that water. Is that like 20 miles?
It could be about 20 miles. Yeah.
About 20 miles. Okay, so that radius wise, it's not like crazy far, but that's okay. And then as far as routes are concerned, do people generally enjoy more residential routes or business routes? Because I know you're the mall, so I'm guessing you get more business than you do residential.
There's different types of routes. There's good things about business routes because businesses close at 5 and you can be done.
Okay.
If you have a route that's all business, you have to finish by that certain time. Usually residential routes go a little later because, a lot of routes have business, but then residential at the end. So businesses must be delivered by 5, unless it's like a mall, but it just varies. Business, we take care of our business first, and then we save our residential routes. There are some routes that are all residential. So there's just, it's all mixed. There's different types of routes out there. And
okay.
Some people like all residential routes because you don't really come in contact with people too much. If you're in a business route, you talk to a lot of people, you one-on-one with people, and you get a relationship with people, and you just kind of talk. You see a lot of people. So
it's kind of subjective then.
Yeah.
Whatever fits your personality best. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go back to that relationship thing. So how right you get to see people every day because you're in business with the business people at the mall.
Yes, I'm at the mall.
What's the relationships like with the people that you have to deal with every day?
So I start my day at the mall, and mall jobs are usually different workers every day because it's not like a mall job is kind of like someone who you're not seeing the same person every day.
Okay.
If you go to an office, it's going to be the same person at the front desk.
Mm-hmm.
But at the mall is a little different because they go through a big staff which is scattered.
Okay.
So I'm seeing it might be somebody else the other day, the next day. So you see different people and you don't see them every day on a daily basis. But you get to know everybody. And everybody takes care of you, man. Everybody loves the UPS guy, I give good service. I try to help everybody out. And
let's talk about what do you feel like would make What are the best characteristics for a good UPS driver or a driver in general? What are some of the characteristics that you think would make up a good driver?
For me, what I would tell them personally
Mhm.
is you need to use the methods that UPS provides, because if I'll ask a new driver, how long are you planning to do this? If you want to be here a long time, you better use the right methods.
Okay. Another thing that I wanted to talk to you about is I know that you do safety. We were talked about a little bit earlier about safety, but I also do know that you do like videos and stuff to help engage people in how to make sure that they're doing things properly, so that there's less injuries and stuff like that. Talk about what your role is in that position.
So being there for a while, I've seen a lot. I've seen people retire well, in good shape, and I've seen other things. People, not leaving not too well, So me being there every day and having a relationship with everybody, all my drivers, all my friends, I want to help everybody get to that finish line in good shape. It's all about getting home to your family. We all have someone to get home to, and I don't want nothing to happen to nobody.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to share my experience, other people's experience, just everything I know, everything I've seen, to help them do things the right way. And I like to explain to them why you need to do this the right way.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into it, because you got to think 9-hour days in and out of that package car, handling packages, a lot of lifting, a lot of lowering, a lot of driving around, and the public it's dangerous out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that can happen. So I want to give everybody the knowledge to get back, home.
One of the things that we have, and maybe you'll be able to share it with us, is you did something interesting with the video, and I don't remember how long ago it was, but didn't you come up with like a rap video?
Yeah, so I try to get creative, and I love that UPS lets me do whatever I think, whatever ideas we come up with. I have a group, the safety committee members, and shout out to all my fellow friends that help me out with everything. We just try to engage everybody by, I came up with the rap song. I came up with the obstacle course. I might set up some cones out there and have the drivers perform for me. Let me see you back. Let's see if you're using the right methods. I'll have them back, and then I'll kind of observe them, and then I'll just give them like some pointers and tips and what I feel like they need to do more, or anything I can just throw in there. We do quizzes. We just try to do something on a daily basis just to engage them. It could be just mentally teaching them, just having them verbally, because people learn differently.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot that comes with safety, a lot to know. We can have them physically demonstrate something, and there's just so much that comes into play.
Very nice. I think we're gonna have I'll put up a little clip of that video. Let's see if we grab that so people can get an idea, because I think it was really interesting. It's really fun.
We save lives, ain't no back, cause you got love to the ceiling, man. And the bigger space, the bigger the feeling, the better the feeling, the more that I'm chilling, willing, drilling, killing the feeling. We're on the rise and we're staying alive. Through every intersection, we don't text and drive. Our frequencies are fly and we're rolling on by. Man, we staying 0-0 where our heroes are feeling, man. You can't do telling accidents to me and my committees. And you know that we rolling deliveries and we don't back.
Okay, let's talk about, to me this is a benefit stuff, but let's talk about pay, benefits, things like that. You don't have to tell me exactly what you make, but what could someone that's looking to become a driver, what could they look to make as a beginner, as someone that's been in there for 5 years, and then like an expert person? So what's salary look like that way?
Well, driving, it varies between, what state you are, or there's what areas, kind of varies. So let's just start off with a full-time driver.
Okay.
Top pay. Once you hit top pay, it takes like maybe 4 years. I might be wrong to hit that top pay. Depending, there's kind of rules on it, but
Mm-hmm.
just average 4 years. Once you hit that top pay, if you work just 8 hours a day, you make about 70.
70. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's probably before, yeah, like you said, before overtime and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's good. What is it when you first start out? Like someone that's just going into it right away. Is that a 70,000 or is it
It's a little less.
a little less?
I don't know what it is now because, back when I started, it was probably around, 50, 60, but it's different now.
Okay. And then 70. You guys have the opportunity to do overtime as well.
Yeah.
Benefit wise, what's vacation time look like? That probably differs based on seniority as well.
It's good vacation time. I believe you get your first week after a year or two, and then the more you have, you'll get another week. Like once you hit the 3-year mark, you're gonna get another week, and then once you hit the 5-year mark, you get another one, and then
So you're at 3 weeks at 5 years,
so on and so on.
around there.
Don't quote me on that, but it's
somewhere
somewhere around there. I don't know what it is now. I mean, there's so much
So
into that, and
where I work, it's 2 weeks initially. Once you get to 5 years, it's 3, and then once you get to 4, or once you get to 20, I believe, 15 or 20, you get 4. But okay. And then you guys have healthcare, dental, vision, all that kind of stuff. Do you guys have 401k or pension or anything like that?
that is provided through the union.
Okay, pension then.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, let's see here. Any qualifications to start? Like if you want to be preloader, anything that they required, you need to have a high school diploma, a GED, anything like that?
Yeah, high school diploma, and you got to be able to lift. I don't know what it said exactly. You got to be able to lift a certain amount of weight, is what they say. Well, just so you know, our weight limit is 150 pounds. So you got to be able to lift some.
That's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Okay. I would assume, I would probably guess, without me knowing, would probably be about a minimum at least 50 pounds that you have to be able to pick up. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I have any other questions. Anything else that you want to talk about as far as anything that I maybe missed?
Yeah. Well, if anybody wants to join, you can always go to UPS Jobs, UPS/jobs.com and apply. And if you're interested, it's a good gig, part-time, start off, just for the benefits. Even if you're a part-timer, you get good benefits.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And obviously I'm getting the vibe that you enjoy your job.
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's tough, but you know what? I can't imagine doing anything else. Sometimes I think we all have bad days, and maybe I should do something else, but I can't imagine what.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I've always seen you in that brown uniform, and it just seems like you. And you've always spoke highly of UPS, so it seemed like a good
love
gig.
my job. Outdoors, you get to talk to people, you have relationships with people. People love you. I'm somebody's UPS guy, and it's great. It's a relationship. It's I also have residential, and it's almost like I'm part of the community,
Mm-hmm.
because I got some schools and some daycares, and I know people that work here and work there, and everybody knows you. And my son actually goes to a preschool, which the director lives on my route, and I've known her, and then she met my son, and it's almost like it's a great community.
Awesome. Okay. Well, shout out any of the stuff where people could follow you. So I know you do some fun things. I know you do some stuff on the side with videos and stuff like that, but shout out anything that you have for social medias.
So we have an Instagram. It's harbor_center. And sometimes we post on that, maybe some activities, what we're doing. I started up a YouTube channel for our safety committee. check it out at the bottom. That's about it.
Okay, awesome.
So you want me to freestyle now?
Well, I think that's going to be it. But Jose, thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate you coming on, telling us about UPS. I think it's a really cool job, and I think other people, it's option for someone to look into. So thank you for coming on. That's going to wrap up season 1 for us. We're going to start working on season 2 right now, but we wanted to thank everyone for watching. Please continue to watch. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you in season 2. Peace.
Pretty good. Yeah.
You have fun?